Good morning, folks. Welcome back to the channel. HappyCattyCrypto here. In an absolute beautiful time right now in our community, it looks like we've got this huge hope of a USTC repeg after all this time, right? After everything we've been through, the ups, the downs, people getting arrested, claims being made, the SEC doing what they do, South Korea firing back saying, look, it's not security. You've tried this before. It's all getting rather interesting. Now, the one thing I'm going to say is when FOMO, because ultimately what's going to happen is 80% of people are going to see that proposal pass. It's a signaling proposal. It's the beginning of something great, okay? USTC is not just going to go and start pegging itself. There's work to be done. There's man hours to be put in. But this is all part of this amazing journey we are on. So USTC is looking really interesting on the chart. And of course it's going to be of heavy interest. And what happens is, as this leaks out into the communities, as this leaks out into news articles and across the cryptoverse itself, people are going to get interested. Where there's money to be made. And honestly, how many people love getting involved when, I don't know, USDC depegs or Tether depegs and people put everything they've got in it because they know it's going to repeg. It's going to be like that with USTC, I think. People are just not going to be able to hold themselves. And the more this gets out there, the better for us right now, because this momentum is what we need. So it's the usual people writing these articles. I have checked into them. This is Albert Brown once again writing this article. He writes a lot of articles in the LUNC community and throughout the cosmos. So we've got this one, which is a Terra Classic makes final push towards a USTC repeg. This is awesome. It's good to see these sorts of articles coming up. This one's actually sat in the altcoin section on the top. We can go in and we can simply just search USTC again. And you've got two. The last bit of news that came up really on the broader scale was Binance in adding this trading pair, which is actually really good to see that on Binance, because ultimately the good thing about having this pre-built system, this algorithmic coin, is it's listed in quite a lot of places. We're going to have to work, I believe, to get it relisted in as many places as we can, but we need to be careful. Now, all nodes are acting very strange recently, and this is my own personal opinion. They voted yes to funding Terra rebels, which, you know, you could pretty much see in the community sentiment that we didn't want this to happen, but they voted yes. And what I believe is they should have abstained to that. They should have just abstained from it for the simple fact that they must not have known the true community sentiment out there. Maybe just listening to people that are inside their bubbles, so to speak. And as we can tell from, you know, the interview of Rexy, these kind of people like to worm their way in and get in real close to people. So don't know what's going on behind the scenes. So what you've actually seen is them vote yes to that Terra Rebels proposal and then abstain from the USTC repeg. And their excuse is simply the LUNC prop 11487 is a utopia. After any slight depeg, a black market will appear and nobody will buy USTC at a higher price than the current black market price. Nonetheless, we have decided to abstain to not influence a community decision. I find this highly contradictory because of how they just voted to fund Terra Rebels from our community pool. It kind of sucks to see these things happening. Redline Drifter is the creator of the USTC repeg, and he has responded to this saying there's already a Cosmos function to deal with this, which there is, and they can prevent any black market from receiving assets and funds with a blacklist. Now, another thing that everybody's talking about, and we're going over a few things here, is where's the supplies at? Well, we know there's a considerable amount in the hot wallet, and we also know that TFL own around 75-ish% of the supply. So guess what? The supplies are actually in places, which is probably going to benefit us if we can figure out this blacklisting issue. You know, I honestly, and this is my own sole opinion and belief here, is that people just don't want to see a USTC repeg. It damaged a lot of people. It destroyed a lot of people's livelihoods, welfare. They got rid of those coins more than likely. We saw huge amounts of people burning, you know, all of their USTC. If it repegged, all of that USTC that's been burnt, gotten rid of, is going to be worth loads, right? It doesn't look good for Luna. Now, let's say we repeg it. What about Luna? Well, exactly. There's only one algorithmic stablecoin, and there's only ever going to be room for one algorithmic stablecoin in this cosmos. Yes, we can have fiat-backed ones like USDC, which is coming in through Axelar, but nonetheless, USDC is a whole market for us to capture as a community, and for it to be a community-owned system once again. There's going to be people who simply just don't believe in this, and they're probably going to say anything they can to prevent this happening. And maybe they're just scared. Maybe they don't want to see, I don't know, things change, right? Because we all know how much these kind of validators are getting in rewards. They're getting huge amounts. If you go over and look at Luna and look at the validators base, right, and look at the voting power, none of them have got that amount of voting power on Luna. And the ones that have got 0% commissions on here haven't got 0% commissions on Luna. So it's very interesting. Get to know your validator base. The better we can support validators, and it's horrible to say this, but validators like myself that are actually working day in, day out, doing the work, doing the research, getting to know the community, getting to know the blockchain, understanding proposals that are passing, we're just going to abstain from this because we believe it won't work. Well, you've just voted yes to give 300 million LUNC from our very small community pool to fund Terra Rebels, when all nodes know outright that we need to develop Station for ourselves. We need to develop a mobile app for ourselves. We need to develop an Agora for ourselves. We need all of these little things like Terra Docs for ourselves. We don't want a privatized wallet from Terra Rebels. We don't want to see our endpoints privatized once again, because let me explain something to everybody about these endpoints, right? When you control the endpoints of the blockchain, okay, you can see all of the data across the blockchain. You can see where the liquidity is, what people are interested. It gives you a huge edge over the blockchain. And for people to be validators and abusing that, it's horrible. It's horrible to see people that are more or less, what we saw with Terra Rebels. As soon as they got into positions of power, they all set up loads of different small nodes. They purchased them from loads of different people to get them early. They're all compromised, It's ridiculous. So, I honestly think that my squeaky chair needs to stop squeaking, but I really do think that we are on the cusp of a major change. And Luna doesn't want to see that happen. Why would they want to see that happen? What is there for them if we repeg USTC? Nothing. They're just another coin just like the rest of us with a staking protocol. It really is that simple. What gave them the edge was the USTC. Maybe they're just trying to keep us out so they can do it themselves later on down the line once DK's got back on track and everything like that. We have to admit to ourselves, if CZ Binance said there's something there with USTC and there is a need for it, if Doquan was so successful before, 100% he's thinking about reworking this idea. If we look at someone like Rexy, who's more interested in relaunching his platform, okay, and getting people to just invest more money. We don't want the people to have their money back. We want you to invest that money and invest more. Think about how Doquan conducts himself. Of course he wants to capture the USTC market. Like I said, I believe we're on the edge, the cusp of a huge change in momentum for our blockchain, which is such a tiny part of the cosmos, right? If we repeg USTC, everybody in the cosmos is going to want a alliance bridge with us. They're going to want to be in on the USTC situation. They're going to want to ride it up as it's repegging, cent by cent, stage by stage, going up a bit, coming down a bit, and traders simply playing that all the way up, not having any control over being able to short it. I think we've got a good plan in front of us. No minting, no forking, none of the crap that was always with it all before. I'm really hopeful for this, folks. Hopefully this gets your Friday off to a better start. None of this is financial advice. Beware of scammers. Beware of doppelgangers. If you haven't caught the video this morning, be sure to watch it. Like, subscribe, comment, support. Folks, catch you in the next one. Shoo!